All right, so you're gonna go ahead and start on your back and bring the soles of your feet up to the ground and find a comfortable position here. Allow your head to relax into the ground. If you'd like a support under your head, perhaps a pillow, you can go ahead and take that. If you notice that your chin is really pressing out forward, you're gonna wanna support something under your head just so we can keep it kind of relatively close to the chest. And take a few deeper breaths. Just settle into your space and begin to bring your attention inward. So whatever is going on in your life right now, in your world, that's okay, it can wait. And notice any sensations here that arise with the breath and with bringing your attention inward. Now go ahead and keep the soles of the feet on the ground and bring your hands to interlace behind the small of your neck, kind of in that space here from the part of your head that touches the ground when it's at rest and the back of the neck. So it's just giving a little bit of support here. Take a breath in, and then on your exhale, begin to bring your right elbow down across your body. You can use your hands to support your head so your elbows kind of move as one unit, and then return it back to the ground. Take it a few more times, just that right elbow moving almost as if it's traveling up to meet the opposite knee. And bring it back down. And see if you can make this movement as easy as possible. So not putting any more effort than is absolutely necessary. And then settle back down. And now begin to lift your left knee up off the ground and up towards your chest. And go ahead and lower it back down. Notice your opposite foot needing to provide a little bit of stability here so that you don't start to rock or roll to either side. So that left foot lifts and lowers as the knee reaches up. Good. And now we're going to try to coordinate those two movements. So right elbow, left knee will lift up towards each other and then lower back down. Now, there's no rush to do this. See if you can make this movement as slow and easeful as possible. We'll adjust the pace in just a moment. We don't want this to be jerky or sudden, just a really gentle lift and lower. And don't worry about how close your elbow and opposite knee get. We want to think about making this movement smooth and coordinated so that as your foot lowers and releases down into the ground, your head is back where it started. And then return to that central position. We're going to repeat this on the opposite side. So start to lift your left elbow up and across. Your head will lift up off the ground as well. And again, nice, slow, with control here. So we don't want to be cramming the neck up by any means. We're just gently lifting the head. The hands and the head are working together as your elbow lifts up and across. And lower it down. Now this time, right knee, right foot will lift up off the ground, up towards the chest, and then lower it on down. See if you can make this movement so that if the rest of your body didn't know your right knee or your right leg was moving, then it wouldn't have any idea that it was moving. So nothing else changes except this right leg lifting and lowering. And now let's try to bring these two together so that right knee and left elbow come together and then lower down. And again, we're trying to make this movement as smooth as is possible. maybe the head and the foot find the ground at the same time and lift up together at the same time. Good, and now just relax, bring this on down to stillness. And we're gonna try to see how it feels to lift that knee alone by itself. And we're gonna start again with that left knee alone by itself. And then just every other, lift the opposite elbow. So left knee, right elbow will lift. And then the leg lifts by itself. Notice, is there any difference between those two movements? That leg lifting by itself and knee and elbow lifting up together. And now settle your leg down. And we'll do the same thing with the elbow. So just the elbow lifts. And then bring it back down. And now bring elbow and knee together, which feels easier, more natural. Just the elbow and head lift. And lower down, down. And we're going to try that on the opposite side. So right knee lifts and lowers, and then together. Right knee, left elbow lift. Right knee alone. And right knee, left elbow. And when you're ready, just the elbow lifts, leg stays lowered. And then together, we're coordinated. Pretty cool. Now you can do a couple more reps here, just kind of experimenting with this movement. Or if you'd like, you can lift both soles of feet up off the ground and try this again. So right elbow, left knee, come in together. Left elbow, right knee. And you can feel free to rest at any point if you'd like. Maybe it's just tapping your feet down. In between. And then when you're feeling like you've had enough of that, go ahead and lower on down. Bring the soles of your feet to the ground. Allow your arms to rest by your side. Shake your head no a few times. And you can open and close your jaw a few times. Now, don't worry about going as far as you can, but just to let go of any tension that might have been there. Nod your head yes and no a few times. And now allow your knees to drop in and out. So in towards each other. You can adjust your foot position as you'd like to. So maybe you'd like to see how it feels to have your feet out wide for a few reps. Or maybe your feet will move out a little bit away from your hips or in closer, whatever feels good. And return to stillness. Bring the soles of your feet to the ground, and it doesn't really matter where they are. Just make sure you can find your full foot contact, and just lift and lower your heels and your toes a few times. Just get a little squeeze through the calves and through the front of the shins. And settle down. Find the middle of your foot as that sort of center point of the foot where it's in contact with the ground. And now press your feet down into the ground and begin to push your feet away from your hips. So not like you are lifting or moving or anything, but just if the ground wasn't there, if it wasn't pressed into the ground, your feet would slide away. So that's what would happen if we didn't have that friction. So press your feet away and notice what starts to happen with your pelvis. Okay, so we're pressing the feet away and then just releasing that tension. Press the feet away, release that tension. You'll notice perhaps that your tailbone starts to tuck under, and then release that tension and just allow the hips to kind of fall into their natural position. And now again, press your feet away towards the bottom of your mat or just away from you. Keep that little tuck of the tail under, and now start to lift your hips up off the ground. Maybe just an inch or two, just to clear the ground, and lower them back down. Now, if you've lost that sense of your feet pushing away, re-establish that, re-press the feet away, tuck, create that little tuck through the tail, And then lift this whole time, keeping that press away. Now only go so high as you can where you're still maintaining that press away and that balance to the midpoint of the foot. Go ahead and lower down, maintaining that push away. I'll take this just a few more times. Press your feet away the whole time as you lift up and as you lower. And as your hips tap down, maybe you want to take a little breather, a little rest. That's okay. I'm just going to take 3 more reps with you. Now, it's not about how fast you go, again, but how smooth and nice you can make this feel. Nicely done. And then when you're all set here, just release your feet from the ground. Pull your knees up towards your chest. You can make some contact with your arms however you'd like, if that's hands across the front of the knees or perhaps around the legs, the backs of the hamstrings here. And just gently begin to pulse the knees up a little bit and rock them on down. Don't worry about, again, how high they go, but just again, start to create that little bit of a rock. And now you can take your hands either to the fronts of your knees or the tops of your thighs here. Either way, you're going to create a little bit of counter pressure. So your hands are pressing into your knees are pressing into your hands. So that could be your legs are kind of pulling away, almost like pulling your shoulders down, or your hands are pressing into your knees and your knees are pressing into your hands as if you're bringing your knees up towards your chest. Doesn't need to be anything crazy, maybe a 3 to a 5 out of 10 in intensity. And still breathe through that tension. And you can experiment with some different positions of your hands and some different ways that your knees can press into your hands. And when you're all set with that, go ahead again, bring your soles of your feet down to the ground, roll onto your side, and press yourself up. We're going to rock right into a tabletop position. So this is hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Take a moment to settle in here. You can even take a few circles through your wrists. And if this feels like a lot on your wrists, feel free to come up onto the fronts of closed fists. Again, just settle in. Begin to lift your tail up and tuck your tail under. Now see if you can start this movement from the tail. So the tail tucks under and the tail lifts. The rest of the body is just kind of along for the ride. Don't worry about how far you go. Just again, that smoothness. Settle back into stillness here. And now you're going to create that same movement, but this time think about your back doing the lifting. So the low back lifts the tail. The rest of the body's just along for the ride. But it's the top of the pelvis now that is doing the work. A few reps of that, just tucking and untucking your tail or tucking and untucking your pelvis. And now relax for a moment, shake that off, and now work together. See what feels most natural for you. Is it more your tail driving this motion or your low back? And then just relax, shake it out. And now we're going to start to draw a circle with the tail. So rather than just kind of up and back, you're going to swing your tail to the right, tuck it under, keep it tucked under as you swing to the left, and then lift the tail up towards the sky, tuck it to the right, and then around, as if you're drawing a circle with your tail. Doesn't have to be a big circle, but maybe it's a smooth, maybe a little bit oblong circle. And again, notice Is this easier if your hamstrings, or sort of this lower end of the pelvis, is doing the work? Or does it feel like your low back is doing the work? See if you can split the work evenly. So neither one is doing the most. Now go ahead and change directions. So you can start by swinging your tail to the right, tucking it under. Oh, I think I just did that. So switch directions. I think I changed directions while I was doing this. So whichever direction you were going in, change it. Or feel free to just change your directions every few reps. And then return to stillness. Take a few easy, honestly, whatever you want. If you want to do some side bending or some more cat-cows, go ahead and do that. You're going to start to walk your hands out. So come forward, lower down onto your elbows. And you're going to bring the front of your pelvis down to the ground. Now, if it helps you to have a pillow under the pelvis to kind of tent your back up a little bit, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, this might feel a little intense in your low back if you have a sensitive low back. And now just find a comfortable position. I'll turn so you can see me here. So if you notice that your elbows are in really close, you may want to bring them out just wider than the points of the shoulders. And just as close as the elbows are, if you notice that you're so close here that your shoulders are starting to fall forward ahead of your elbows, you're going to bring your elbows forward so they're just ahead of your shoulders here. So you've kind of got 3 points of contact. We've got the elbows, well, I guess the forearms, and the hips and the legs. Now find that strong point of contact here. So palms are down on the ground, elbows are into the ground, pelvis and the fronts of the legs, the thighs, maybe even the tops of the feet pressed down into the ground. And take a few breaths here. Notice any areas that might feel a little restricted. And notice where the breath easily moves. And see if you can find a full breath. Just a natural, non-restricted breath. And now if you're like me and your head is dropped, go ahead and just lift your gaze. Don't worry about lifting your chin, but just bring your gaze so that it's up towards your fingertips. You might start to notice a little fatigue in through the shoulders here. So we're just going to allow the shoulders to drop back up towards the ears. And then press through the whole forearm, through the hands, to press away and lift your body up. So we're just lowering, shoulder shrug, back, and then press through your forearms to lift up. Gaze stays pretty much where it was. So we're just sort of lifting and lowering our torso around the shoulder blades. And find somewhere in the middle. So we're neither shrugged back nor reaching, but just somewhere in the middle here. Take a few breaths. Notice that sensation of effort through the elbows. And maybe here, begin to press a little bit in through the fronts of the thighs here, just so that your whole body is engaged. So it's not so much a passive pose, but a very active, engaged posture. Maintaining a connection with that full breath. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. And go ahead and lift your elbows up. Begin to bring your forehead down to your palms. And allow yourself to settle into rest. Now, if you're more comfortable lying on your side or on your back here, take your pick. But just allow your head to rest on your palms. Take a few deeper breaths. And when you're ready, you can lift your head up, return to your seat or wherever you'd like to go from here, and move on. And if you're doing this right before bed, I hope this was a relaxing experience. And when you're ready, return to your room, begin to lift your head up from your hands and take your time to rise to a seat and take a moment and seat in this seated position. Take a moment here to just find your breath once again and then enjoy the rest of your day.